Hello and welcome, everybody, to today's episode of the Angelic Footprints podcast. Today, we have a special guest with us, and her name is Erika Ristovski. And Erika, she is a psychic medium, healer, and spiritual life coach who founded Quantum Transformation. And that is a sanctuary dedicated to rapid personal transformation, healing, and growth. Erica draws from her own triumphs over depression, anxiety, and heightened sensitivity to energies. She empowers individuals to overcome life's challenges, to rediscover their inner strength, tune into intuition, harness energy, and live authentically with joy and purpose. From a reserved introverted childhood in Colombia, marked by self doubt and isolation, Erica evolved through self reflection and energetic practices, transitioning from a successful career as an exhibiting artist and educator. Erica, I am so excited to hear your story. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Dagmar, for that amazing introduction. So, yes, I'm Erika Ristovski, and I was born and raised in Colombia. And it was difficult for me, my upbringing, because I also grew up in a dysfunctional family, being very Catholic, very religious. And I have all these, what you will say, quote unquote, gifts. I was a seer. I didn't understand it. And when I started bringing these things up, it caused fear in my family. And I started to shut down to like, okay, understood that I shouldn't mention that I'm seeing a person that looks like this, when nobody else in the room can see them, or that I'm having out of body experiences. Of course, I didn't have that language to understand what was happening to me and seeing a lot of things in my life. And moving forward to when I was 17, that I moved to a different town and found out all these amazing people that were also doing spiritual things, Gnosticism, esotericism, spirituality, all kinds of things, and understanding that I was a medium, that I wasn't crazy or wrong, or I was just an odd kid. And having a name and having other people being that was amazing for me, because then I felt like, okay, there's other people like me. There is other people that are also seers. They see things that are not physical. And I started my journey very early on. I never looked back. I've been in the spiritual arts for 20 plus years, and it was always my passion. I had a different career. I was an exhibiting artist for about 10 or 15 years. And when my son was born with a congenital heart defect, and we have many dark nights of the soul, but that was the most intense. Then I was like, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not expressing all of who I am. So I started working with guides and mentors and coaches to help me kind of release the layers of fear, because it was mostly fear of the what because I felt the wrongness from a very early on, that I shouldn't say what I see. I shouldn't share what I know. So work through that, and moving forward, I started my first spiritual business, was Angelic Ray Healing Practice, LLC, in Austin, Texas. And I love it because it was an amazing journey for me to support people, to connect with the angelic realm, to experience healing, and to bring harmony and balance into their life. So it was an amazing, amazing experience for me. After that, I'm very like, okay, if I have a feeling, I act upon it. I moved to Spain, and we wanted to like reinvent ourselves with my family. And I started my new business, which is quantum transformation. And it's more about acceleration, stepping into that new identity and all of that. But I love all the journey that brought me here, because my past experiences now help me guide people around the world like myself that are feeling like they need guidance, or there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anybody. We're perfect just the way we are. But that's what we perceive, right? With the environment, with the things that we experience.
Yeah, that is so interesting. And Listening to your story about that background and having a similar background myself, maybe, well, I know I wasn't Catholic. My dad wasn't Catholic, but definitely religious. And they have their confined beliefs. It kind of traps them
Mhm.
into a certain belief system, then they're not open to other things. It makes me sometimes wonder
Mhm.
how brave we have to be to really
Yes.
step out of those confines. So well done you for doing that. Now, you
Thank
were
you.
telling me off air a little bit about some angelic experiences, but I'd love you to share that with our viewers and listeners. Erica, please, you've got the floor. Tell us all about it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I didn't know at the time because, of course, I didn't have the language. And I remember once I brought it up to my father that I was seeing like men with kind of like this gauze, linen clothing, like long robes around me. As a kid, I had a lot of problems with my stomach because in Colombia, the water quality is not so clean. So I had a lot of stomach issues and I was sick a lot. And I would feel like these men around me, and I just wouldn't know, like, but I will feel better. But the presence, I will feel calm. I will feel relaxed. And I just didn't understand. I was like, okay. And I brought it up to my dad, and he was like, no, because we are all sinners. Like, how can you right? Like he was thinking about like Jesus Christ or some with that description, but I was like really confused. Like, okay, if I'm a sinner, how could I, right? Get that support, get assistance. I just knew that I will feel better, that my body will heal faster, that if I was stressed, I will feel more ease. So I had several experiences like that throughout my life that I was going through hard things. And I would feel them many times. I wouldn't see them I would just have this overwhelming presence, like, oof, like I would start crying, but it wasn't crying from desperation. It was crying from relief. It was crying from, oh my gosh, like they're here to support me, to guide me, to be with me. And one big episode, I was 16. Was back in Colombia. I was taking a shower and so many chaotic things I was experiencing with my family, the dysfunction, all the things, and having this hypersensitivity that I was seeing things all the time. And going to sleep, I was terrified for some time. And one day I was like, why if I just cut myself? And my father had like these razors, right? Old school that I just like the flat little thing. And I was considering that. And I was like really about to do it, like, of course, crying and feeling all the feels. And then I have this big feminine presence that enveloped me. And I was crying, but like crying with relief. And I knew it was like a thought was installed in me that everything was going to change. And I couldn't see it because I was like, it's chaos for so long. How could it possibly change? But it just kind of like it got instilled in me. I cannot explain it. It was like poop, dropped like software update, programming, like something around those lines. Because it brought me so
Yeah.
much relief. And I just kind of knew, like, I knew the things were going to do different. And then few days after the phone call that my mother wanted me to bring me to the States, so that was the change. That was the opportunity for me to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to study art, and also got me the opportunity to study spirituality in depth. Like that was my after school kind of gig. So I did it for so many years. I was going to a group, I was going to conferences, I was going to meetings, and really understanding that these connections were available for everyone. And we just needed to open that door and have the willingness to invite them in our life because for so long I felt that it just happens to me. Like, am I the only one that sees this? Like, so weird. Why would that be? But over time and seeing other people experiencing that too, overnight healings, like things like that, like miracles, like all of these things. And I was like, oh, I'm not the only one. So what was the difference for those people? And it's like the belief, the faith, inviting them in their life, because for me it really changed my life. If I didn't listen to that intuitive nudge, like that connection, when it enveloped me with like so much love, because they're just love, I feel that yes.
Yeah, you're fine. I was just going to ask, refresh me. How old were you when you moved from Colombia to the US?
I was 18, but after 16, I had I knew because they started the paperwork. It take a long time, and I knew
Right.
that that was going to happen. And then there were different arrangements for me to, because there was like different possibilities for me before that. That I was going to live with some uncle that was not a very kind person in the capital in Bogota, and like this was going to be. And I was like, that brought me more desperation. So when I knew that this was this different plan that completely came unexpected, I did not see it coming, came through for me to move to the States with my mom and have a possibility to study whatever I wanted and have more freedom and all of this. I was like, wow, like, of course things change. And I
Yeah.
moved to the States exactly when after I turned 18. And from there on, I got able to study, to continue my spiritual studies for so many years. And yes, it's just the freedom that I didn't have growing up, I experienced.
So it sounds to me like there's a bit of a cultural thing that was going on in Colombia, but also perhaps the religious thing as well. Have I
Mhm.
got that right?
Yes, absolutely. Because my father was very one way kind of thing. And every time I was saying these things, it wasn't well received because this is another story that I had that I just come through. When I was 12, I have so many questions because in the Catholic Church, you have to go for like communion and there's like preparation and you have to go to study. And the study is like you recite these certain things that are in the Bible and prayers and things. And it didn't make any sense to me. But I was always like a yes man kind of kid because that was my upbringing. But it just still like it wouldn't sit with me. And then I would just for me asking questions, he was like, oh, that's you being rebel, all this. And I had at that time so many episodes of seeing things that were not kind because like they're angels, but there are other things that are darker. And it will frighten me and I will describe it. And then my father thought that I had a possession.
Oh
And
dear.
he wanted me and he did all the figuring out if it was possible for the Catholic Church to do what do they call it? Kind of like, expelling the demons out of you kind of thing process. But that process has a list and you have to meet all of the requirements in order for them to perform it. And I didn't meet some, thanks goodness, but it was very stressful time because that just reinforced my beliefs like there is wrongness with me. What I experience
Yeah.
isn't normal and this is bad.
Well, I have a question about this because my understanding on everything that I've read over the years is that Catholics do believe that there are angels, that you all have a guardian angel. And yet, by the sounds of it, your dad was really anti against that. So, did he not have a belief in guardian angels?
He did. And we always pray the guardian angel prayer. I have like figures and he gave me all these virgins and I have angels figures that he will give to me. But he was more concerned of like the dark entities that I was experiencing.
Right. So, I think the word that you were looking before is like an exorcism, that he wanted to do an
Yes,
exorcism on
exactly.
you.
Yes,
And
exorcism. That's the
that's
word.
that's
Thank you.
pretty extreme, but yeah, look, I totally believe, nature and if you like, living in the world that we live in, there's good and there's bad. There's the
Yes.
dark and the light. You can't have one without the other. So it would
Mhm.
make perfect sense that you have both, but it sounds like from everything that you've told us here that there was nothing malevolent, sorry, the word that I'm looking for is malevolent or dark about the entities, the spirits that were close to you, and you felt as if they were your angels, correct?
Yes, that they were my guys. Yes, yes. But I did experience from time to time, and after I got that understanding and the language that yeah, some things come to you to try to infiltrate in a negative way, but you always have protection. But there was that, and then the understanding that oh, that's what I was experiencing as a kid. But of course, I didn't understand it, and I didn't have any tools to navigate that.
Mm. True, but the great thing is you have navigated it, you are
Right.
here, you're on the other side of it. You've done a
Yes.
lot of work on studying spirituality and your art by the sounds of it. Now, you did mention that this has had a significant impact on your life. would you like to tell us a little bit more about how having angels in your life has influenced your life?
Oof. So much. I so much. And this image also comes through because for many years, I was, especially when I was teenager, you're a teenager, you're thinking about other things. I was not um, having them as present in my life on like everyday basis. It was more like when I was in trouble kind of thing, when I was in a difficult transition or source. And over time, I discovered that I I shouldn't have to wait for something, let's say, quote unquote, bad to happen to me to ask for help and assistance, that they were always available on the daily. And to have that bond, to have that connection on a daily. And it's so interesting because the image taken through this, like this happened many years ago with my husband. He's so afraid of turbulence when we are flying on a plane. And that
Yeah.
time particularly, we experienced so much of it. Like, when you had like that drop in your stomach was like so intense. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started praying to the angels to support us, to guide us. And then all of a sudden, the whole plane, with my eyes, I visualized completely surrounded by these angelic beings, by like so many, like thousands. And it had like this incredible halo, and they were like supporting the energetic field of this uh plane. And I was just like, wow. And I got all the feels and all of the emotion. And my husband was like holding tight to the chair, like doing all the prayers in his head. Like he was so stressed. And I was feel so safe and so secure. And like minute or two after I experienced that, it went completely smoothly. And I share with him and I share with a few more people that experience. But that was beautiful. And I have many, many situations like that they are always there. Like it's just like an instant, like a thought, like I'm something happening, something frightening, and they're there because you develop that relationship, not just when bad times come, but on the daily. Also, I mean, in gratitude, I share like my good things, the things that happen in my life that I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this. Or when I'm confused, when I need clarity with something, I just see, then I breathe and I ask for assistance and I get it. And I'm just like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for this. And like silly things too. Like, for example, here in Spain, streets are small and chaotic and it's so hard to find a parking. And when I need to go to a certain place, I'm like, can you please just guide me? Like, where should I go? And I start having like this map in my head. Like, guide me, guide me. And then I will have the intuition to like go right, left, or like, and then I will find it. Like silly things like that. Like, doesn't have to be something grand. We can develop this deep connection. So it has transformed my life because I'm not afraid of the trials and the tribulation, let's say, because I always know that I'm guided. I always know that I have that support and that no matter what, they're gonna support me, they're gonna guide me, I'm gonna find the resources around me, and I'm gonna go through it. As hard as difficult as it is, I don't have resistance of that fear and doubt that I used to have, that my younger self used to have.
That is so nice. Thank you for sharing. And it is that lovely feeling, isn't it, of
Oh my
having that
gosh,
support.
yes.
And you
Yes.
do. I love your aeroplane story as well. And a quick question about your husband. Is he a little bit more of a believer now?
He is definitely a believer. He was raised Christian Orthodox and he knows angels. Like we have a lot of angels in the house, figures, and like we do prayers. My little kid too. Like kids in general, they're very in tune, very intuitive, and they see things too. So my husband believes, and we do prayers together and all of these things because he sees the difference. He sees the difference because he has been with me for many years now, like 16 or 17 by now. So he sees this whole journey that is not just wishful thinking or something abstract. Is he has a lot of references that yes, it's real.
Ah, that and I will say that I know the same about my husband too, that after a while it's like, can't ignore this anymore, there is
Yes,
really something to this. So
yes,
yes, absolutely. And I love the effect too, and I know that it happens with my kids as well too, when you share this information with your kids, I think it also impacts your kids in a positive
yes,
way and that they can then bring in that protection and that guidance as well from a young age. And
yes.
we, as you said, we didn't know what it was, but they do because it becomes almost like
They
normal for
do.
them. So Yeah, it's absolutely
Yes,
lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Erica. Absolutely delightful.
of
Erica,
course.
would you like to share with our listeners and viewers any kind of specials or any platform or anything that you would like to share with our people that, might bring them some help or some healing as well? Do you have
Yes,
like a special
absolutely.
offer or a
So
book
I
or
do.
yeah?
Yes, yes. I have one single session that is an intensive clarity session that is so good to support you energetically to get you out of whatever loop that you are encountering, that you need in clarity, that you need in support. I have that. It's just one single offer because for deeper work, I have longer term commitments, 3 months and 6 months. But that's my one off. And if people are curious, like they don't know what I do exactly and they want to learn more, I do have a free consultation on my website that is 10 minutes. And you can ask me all questions like, I can explain you more in depth, like what my work entails and what will happen.
Thank you, Erica. Well, for all of you out there watching or listening to this podcast, if in any way you have felt especially connected to Erica's story or maybe even Erica herself and you want to ask her some questions, then do please get in touch with Erica and see how she might be able to help you. Erica, would you like to share either your socials or how people can get in touch with you or both even?
Yes, thank you for that. They can find me on my website, Erika with K, Ristovski, RISTOVSKI.com. And there you can find all my handles, and you can also find media like where I have talked before, shows that I have done in the past. Also, you can also find my YouTube channel that I am bringing up with more content, activation meditations, and different topics that I bring up.
Oh, that is lovely. Well, I shall be sure to have all of your links on the podcast page for when the podcast comes out. So do be sure to check those links out. Erica, any final thoughts or any final messages that come to mind that you would like to share?
Yes, yes, thank you. I would love to share that for everyone listening, that you don't need to wait for something bad to happen to ask for help, that you don't need to consider yourself as wrong or there's something awfully bad happening with you. We are perfect. We just need a little bit of understanding and clarity. And open yourself up the possibility to bring angelic support into your life because it is going to transform your life in the most magical way in every day, and it might not come to direct guidance like you want to see them and tell you word to word, but through your intuition, through your dreams, perhaps through somebody else coming to you and delivering a particular message to you. Like, listen because they come in so many different ways. If you want to invite them in, really have a moment with yourself and do so, and open your heart and open the door for possibilities because it is a ride and it is incredible to have them in your life.
What an amazing message to finish up on, Erica. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing that. And I really hope that, all of our viewers and listeners, that there's something in today's episode, whether it's got to do with Erica's younger little self who could see spirits and angels around her, or how she moved countries and she got to develop spiritually. There might be something in there that you absolutely connect with. And I really genuinely hope that you have enjoyed Erica's story. Erica, thank you so much for sharing your story and for being on the podcast today. For all of our viewers and listeners, thank you for being a part of the podcast. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please consider leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you are listening. If you know that this podcast has given you meaning and you know that there's other people who could also benefit from it, would you please share it with 3 people whom you know? In the meantime, I wish you all the very best, blessings, and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.